All right, welcome. In this explainer, we're going to break down the single most fundamental concept in, well, all of programming. Seriously, this is the first true building block you've got to understand. Once you get this, I promise, everything else starts to just click into place. So what are we talking about? We're talking about variables.
So just think about it for a second. How does a program remember your name, or your score in a game, or even the items in your shopping cart? When you log into a website and it says, "Hello, Alice," how does it know your name is Alice? It's not magic, right? The program has to have some way to remember all this stuff.
And the answer is the variable. Honestly, the best way to think about a variable is just as a labeled box. Imagine a little container sitting in the computer's memory. You slap a label on it, you put some piece of information inside, and that's it. Whenever you need that info later, you just shout out the box's name. It really is that simple.
So at the end of the day, that's their whole job. Variables give us a way to store and manage all the data our programs need to function. Your username, the price of that thing you want to buy, whether a setting is on or off. All of it gets tucked away neatly into one of these labeled boxes.
Okay, so we have these boxes, but what kind of stuff can we actually put in them? Well, data comes in a few different flavors, so to speak. Let's go over the 4 main types you're going to see all the time in Python.
First up, we've got integers. And this is super simple. It's just a whole number. No decimals, no fractions, none of that. Just think of things you can count, like your age or how many lives you have left in a video game.
Like the number 10, that's a perfect integer. So is 5. So is negative 200. Even 0. If it's a whole number, positive or negative, it's an integer.
All right, next up, strings. This is how a program handles text. It can be anything, really. A single letter, a word, a whole book. And they call it a string because you can literally picture it as a string of individual characters all tied together in a row.
Take the name Alice, for example. Now, here's a super important clue. In Python, you'll always see strings wrapped up in either single or double quotes. That's how you tell the computer, hey, this is text, not a command I want you to run.
Okay, then we have what are called floats, which is really just a fancy name for numbers with a decimal point. Anytime you need more precision than just a whole number, you'll use a float. Think about prices like $9.99, or measurements. If it's got a decimal, it's a float.
And last but not least, we have one of my favorites. It sounds complicated, but it's actually the simplest of all. Booleans. A Boolean is super powerful, but it can only ever be one of 2 things. It's just like a light switch. It's either on or it's off, no in between.
And those 2 values are simply true or false. That's it. This is crazy useful for asking questions in your code. Stuff like, is the user logged in? Well, the answer can only be yes or no, true or false.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap. We've got our 4 main flavors of data: integers for your whole numbers, strings for any kind of text, floats for numbers with decimals, and booleans for simple true or false states. Honestly, if you can get these 4 down, you've taken a huge first step.
All right, so we get the concept, right? We know what variables are and what they can hold. But how do we actually, do it? How does this look in real code? Let's put this into practice.
Believe it or not, the pattern is incredibly simple. It's just name, =, data. That's it. Now, one really important thing, that equal sign doesn't mean is equal to, like in math class. In programming, think of it as an arrow. It means gets or is assigned to. So the name on the left gets the data on the right.
So let's look at a real example. Say we want to create a variable, and we'll call it x, and we want to put the number 10 inside it. The code is exactly what you see, x = 10. Boom! We've just made a box, labeled it x, and dropped the number 10 inside.
And guess what? It's the exact same pattern for a string. We want a variable called name to hold the text Alice. What's the code? You guessed it. Name = Alice. See that pattern? Name = data. That is the absolute core of it. Okay, but what if you're working with some code and you find a variable, but you're not totally sure what's inside it? Is it a number? Is it text? How can you kind of peek inside that box and check what flavor of data you're dealing with?
Well, lucky for us, Python has a perfect little built-in tool for this. It's a function called type. You just hand it any variable you want, and it'll tell you exactly what kind of data is inside. Super useful.
Let's just walk through it real quick. Step 1, we make our variable, x = 10. Step 2, we use our new tool. We ask type x. And step 3, Python spits out the answer. It tells us it belongs to the class int, which is just short for integer.
It's a fantastic way to double-check what you're working with.
So, okay, we know what they are, we know the main data types, and we know how to create them and check on them. But, so what? Why does this one simple idea matter so much?
Well, it really all boils down to one thing. You can't do anything useful in a program until you have a place to store your data. You have to be able to put information somewhere and give it a name. It's like the source material says, variables are the first step to working with data.
And that's really the main thing to remember. Every complex program you've ever used, from your favorite video game to a simple little calculator app, it's all built on this one simple idea: storing bits of information in variables. Mastering this, it's like learning the letter A. You can't write any words until you know it.
So, there you have it. You now understand the first, most essential building block of all programming. Seriously, everything else you're going to learn will use this concept. So now that you have that first block, the only question is, what are you going to build?